So the PitBike 140s and MotoTeam make their way round the green flag lap, and going off pole position will be Richard Holmes Williams ahead of the champion in the PitBike 140 class, Jamie King. Bernie Hook will be on bike 0, starting from third. Alongside him is Ian Jackson. Simon Clowes, your MotoTeam champion for 2019, will be starting on row number 3 and 5th spot ahead of Jason Pugh. They both had a bit of a coming together in yesterday's race. Darren Anderson in 7th ahead of Fraser Kinnaird in 8th spot. Jack Andrews will be in 9th ahead of Greg Pym, rounding out the top 10. Outside the top 10 is Alistair Kinnaird ahead of Kevin Gritton. Daniel Gilbert on row number 7 and 13th. Alongside him is a double 44 of Daniel Lee. Roger Monks in 15th spot on row number 8 ahead of Vince Bailey. And then back on row number 9 is Adam Sweeney ahead of Iona Glover. And on the 10th row of the grid, all on his own, is Charlie Ems. So as the riders line up in their grid positions for the start of their second race, the PitBike 140 and MotoTeam. It's very wet out there, it's very cold, but to take you through the start of this race, I'll hand you over to Chris McCarthy.
Well, we are probably going to have some riders missing because with the conditions as they are and championships wrapped up, some riders have chosen to bail out of today, and it looks like there's no Richard Holmes Williams, and it looks like there is no Bernie Hook either. So all on his own on the front row is Jamie King, who took the win in quite dramatic circumstances yesterday when Holmes Williams went down late in the race. So Simon Clowes, in fact no Simon Clowes either, I don't think. So Darren Anderson in 7th is the first of the riders on the inside. So a clear run from him down to the first corner. Well, Jamie King, can he take advantage of this and get his second win in as many races of the weekend? He gets the race underway, and already he is beginning to build a gap to Ian Jackson in second place. That looks like Darren Anderson was able to take advantage and make some places there. I think he's got up to third as the PitBike 140s and Moto teams get their first race of the day underway. That's Daniel Gilbert, unfortunately, who has ran into problems. He was due to start on the inside of row number 7, but he is not going to be going any further in this race, it seems. But the first lap, we're already halfway through it, and very close it is, particularly in the midfield, as well as it is with our leaders as well. 4 bikes breaking away out front, led by Jamie King, who sits on the outside of the front row. Ian Jackson is in second place at the moment. It looks like Darren Anderson has been able to get up to third, but we'll confirm that when they come across the line. And then in fourth place, that looks like the number 14, I think it is, or the 114 it might be, of Jack Andrews, as they make their way through turn number 1 for the second time of asking. But it's King who seems to just be breaking away on this second lap.
King is the champion for a reason in the PitBike 140s as he pulls away from Ian Jackson on bike number 7, but he's not getting away too quickly, not what we're used to from Jamie King, who's riding a different bike here this weekend. His usual machine had a bit of a crack in the chassis, which he found out last week, so to get himself ready for this weekend he had to scurry about and try and find another chassis, which he has done, and a chassis that he's been using for 6 years. This one feels a little bit alien to him, and we have a change for second position, potentially not doing it yet. Ian Jackson holding off Darren Anderson, but then Darren Anderson is losing out to the 114 of Jack Andrews. Jack Andrews lady on the brakes into turn number 1, snaking as he crosses through the puddles, potentially trying not to hit the back of the number 7 of Ian Jackson. But at the end of lap number 3, it's Jamie King that leads the way by 2.5 seconds ahead of Darren Anderson. Jack Andrews in 4th ahead of Alistair Kinnaird in 5th. Adam Sweeney in 6th ahead of Fraser Kinnaird in 7th. Greg Pym in 8th. Vince Bailey in 8th. And then Iona Glover rounding at the top 10 ahead of Daniel Gilbert. So we were supposed to have 19 riders taking up the start of this race, but we've only got 10 at the moment. So Daniel Gilbert is in actual fact not taking part in this race, so we'll only have 10 riders out there on circuit, bravely mastering these wet conditions.
Yeah, and it's the battle for second we're going to focus on, because Ian Jackson on the number 7 is just ahead of Jack Andrews at the moment, with Ian Jackson with Anderson, in chase, and Ian Jackson there being passed now down the inside at turn number 1. That is Jack Andrews, and Andrews up into second place. Well, he's been able to take advantage of missing riders ahead of him, and he's gone from 9th to second place. Yellow flags are out. Where's our leader? That's Jamie King.
You're right,
off at turn number 3. Jamie King, well, further back on the number 83, Jamie King has gone missing from the front and gets going again in 5th place. So that puts Adam Sweeney up into 4th. We have a change between 2nd and 3rd going into turn number 7. And that looked like Darren Anderson, I think it was, getting into 3rd place, and indeed it was, past the number 7 of Jackson. And unfortunately, Jamie King, well, I think after just clearing some dirt that has gone in the bike, is now going to get going. But well, that's a real shame, but not the first time we've seen that today, and it probably won't be the last either. As we complete 3 laps, there's now 7 to go, and Jack Andrews, a fantastic ride from him so far, from 9th to 1st in 3 laps, and a 1.5 second lead to go with it.
Yes, Jack Andrews, someone we didn't keep an eye out on the start of this race, but I wish we did now, because he's potentially going on to, well, extend the lead of this race from the number 56 of Darren Anderson. Ian Jackson, who put up a great fight earlier on in this race, has slipped back to 7th as they make the way around the number 8 hairpin. A bit of a moment there in the middle of the turn from Jack Andrews, a bit of a moment over the bump potentially as they make their way through the final corner. The rain is starting to fall ever so slightly just again, so as the rain had stopped for the last half an hour or so, it's just sprinkling again, so this might potentially play or have an impact on this race. But they usually just say it's mental rain when it falls on your visor ever so slightly, but in these conditions you already have wet tyres on, so it won't make much of a difference at all. But last time round, the gap between the top 2 was 1.1 seconds. There's only 5 laps remaining, or 5.5 laps remaining of this race. Darren Anderson in second spot, Ian Jackson slipping back 1.8 seconds further back from your second position, but comfortably ahead of 4th spot of Adam Sweeney. Your MotoTeam race leader is Alistair Kinnaird in 5th, ahead of Greg Pym, so there's 7.9 seconds between them. Fraser Kinnaird rounding out the podium positions for the MotoTeam class, and then Vince Bailey just losing out on the top 3 position in 4th in the MotoTeam category. Jamie King has got going again. He's in 9th spot, so we will keep an eye out on his lap times to see if he is making his way through the field. The gap has extended to 1.3 seconds. Last time Jack Andrews was in the 55s, while Darren Anderson was in the 56s.
Yeah, so it's going up even further, as you said. Ian Jackson is dropping back from those 2 as well, as is Adam Sweeney. Alistair Kinnaird some 17.5 seconds back from the leaders at the moment. But Jack Andrews doing a great job out front. His lead of 1.3 seconds, and he's got 4 laps at the end of this one to try and hold on. He comes out the final corner now and up towards the start-finish line. A long right-hander it is that ends the lap. Across the line he goes to set the fastest lap of the race. So Jack Andrews not backing off since getting into that race lead, is pushing even harder now. 2.3 seconds is his gap. He was a second faster than Darren Anderson. Ian Jackson over a second faster than him he was. Adam Sweeney setting a very good pace in 4th place though. Adam Sweeney in 4th, 1 second faster than Ian Jackson, and only 9/10 back, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Adam Sweeney on the number 17, and he is getting close to Ian Jackson with only a few laps remaining, so we'll monitor that gap as we tick off the last 3 laps. Out the final corner now, Jack Andrews about to complete lap number 7, and his pace still very, very impressive. The MotoTeam riders all 5th to 8th, and in the order of Kinnaird, Pym, Fraser Kinnaird, Vince Bailey.
Yeah, great battle going on all the way down the field between the pit bikes and the moto teams. And Greg Pym and Fraser Kinnaird are locked in a battle. Only 3 tenths cover them for second and third in the class. But the battle for second and third in the PitBike 140s is not over yet, because in the last couple of laps, Ian Jackson has been closing down the 56 of Darren Anderson, getting caught up with a couple of back markers as well, but Darren Anderson seems to have it all covered for the time being over Ian Jackson. A gap we will monitor with 2 and a bit laps remaining as your race leader, the 114 of Jack Andrews, comes across the line to see he's only got 2 laps remaining of this very wet and very cold PitBike 140 and MotoTeam race. So the rest of the order is Darren Anderson in second, Ian Jackson in third, Adam Sweeney on the number 17 machine in fourth spot. Alistair Kinnaird, your MotoTeam race leader, is in fifth ahead of Greg Pym, Fraser Kinnaird, Vince Bailey. The 4 MotoTeam riders are all locked together in the standings. Jamie King, who had an off at turn number 3 in the early stages of this race, has remounted. He's now in ninth ahead of Iona Glover, and Daniel Gilbert did not start this race, so there's only 10 riders in this race, and Iona Glover is picking up some good points at the with inside the top 10 on the PitBike 140 machine. So our race leader Jack Andrews makes his way through the penultimate turn for the second last time, powering down towards the final corner. The flat out right-hander sees that he's starting his last lap, and Jack Andrews is on his way to potentially picking up his first race win of the season.
Yeah, it's very close for third place though. It's just 3.5 tenths between Ian Jackson and Adam Sweeney. Just going to keep an eye on what happens there, and it's less than 3.5 tenths now as they head through turns 3 and 4. It is getting very close indeed as we now head in towards turn number 5. I think Adam Sweeney may have a go here, but running out of time very fast as Ian Jackson goes very heavily on the defensive. And there's almost contact there between Ian Jackson and Adam Sweeney. Well, he had a go but couldn't quite get through, but it looks like it's going to be a win for Jack Andrews.
It is indeed. Rounds the final corner, sees the checker flag. Jack Andrews picks up his first race win of the season. Darren Anderson comes across the line in second, and then Ian Jackson holding off a determined Adam Sweeney for a third spot. Jack Andrews looks over his shoulder as he went into turn number 1, not believing that he picked up his first race win of the season. The number 17 of Adam Sweeney hasn't come across the start-finish line to pick up his fourth place, so Adam Sweeney on the exit of the penultimate corner is now starting to get it going. We've got another rider that's pushing his bike.
Kinnaird,
You're right, it is indeed. That is Fraser Kinnaird. So not sure what happened to Fraser Kinnaird in the MotoTeam race. He was sitting in third position, but Adam Sweeney does come across the line now, picks up fourth. Alistair Kinnaird in fifth, Greg Pym in sixth. So Alistair Kinnaird is the winner of the MotoTeam category. Vince Bailey picks up a final podium position in the MotoTeam race, but 7th overall. Jamie King comes across the line in 8th spot after crashing out of the lead earlier on in the race. But your already champions lost his visor as well, gives a wave to our cameraman Dan out there at turn number 1. So you can imagine Dan probably gave him a big thumbs up as well, because Dan and Jamie King do get on very well in the paddock. Fraser Kinnaird in 9th, and then rounding out the runners and riders out inside the top 10 was Iona Glover.